In poker, not every chip is earned through battle. Sometimes they're handed to you. Tonight, the table was full of generosity, bad bluffs, reckless calls, and stacks sliding my way. I don't call it luck, I call it gifts. Welcome to episode 5 of the Secret Poker Pro. Let's unwrap them. Here we go, straight into it. Playing 2, 5, 10, playing four-handed. Me and Billy, who is a good friend of mine, were only here for the fish, who was wailing around. Billy has just got him a couple of hands before, so he's stuck and he's blasting. We haven't buttoned to 30 with sixes. The fish and Billy both call, and the flop comes great. Comes 8-6 for rainbow, with a middle set, and it goes check, check, check. So I decide here to check to try and give the fish some rope to let him blast. He's been blasting like mad after losing that pot, so handed him the rope. Turn comes a 10 of clubs, backdoor flush draw. This is a bit dicey, but the fish leads third pot, and now Billy decides to raise. He makes it 1-2-5. We haven't checked the flop to fold though, so we call, hoping to drag the fish into the pot, and he calls as well. Now this is a fun river. 2 of clubs. It's a pretty terrible card, all things considered. We now have 3 potential straights out there, and all the backdoor flush draws got there, and the fish lead jams for 195, which is at like less than half pot. It's like 40% pot, if that. The plan here is to fold if Billy calls, and if Billy folds, we call. Our hand is now a bluff catcher, and we've under-repped it. So Billy folds, and we call, and win. He shows us this crap. Ace-4 off for an absolute gift. These next 3 hands were played at an Asian game in London. Playing 25, 50, 100 R&B, which is roughly 3, 6, 12-ish. Anyway, low jack limps. We open the cut-off to 400 with ace-5 of clubs. Folds around to the whale who calls, and the low jack calls. Got 1,275 in the middle, which again is like 100 quid, 110 pounds-ish, roughly. The flop comes great. So I'm already planning here to use strategy that I taught you guys a couple of weeks ago of bet, bet, bet. So it checks to us, we bet, we make it 600. Now the whale makes it 1,600. And the low jack folds. Now I've had some info on this whale, that he likes to raise and put the pressure on people that he thinks are scared money. He doesn't know that I'm not scared money or that I'm a pro. So this is good for us, so we just call in position with plans to just cool down. Turn comes of offsuit 4s, pretty much a brick in this spot, and the whale overbets to 5,200 into a pot of 4.5k. Like I said, I'm not folding a pair plus nut flush draw to an aggressive whale, especially when we're this deep, so I just call. And the river comes a lovely ace of spades. Now, once he's check raised flop, we're going to discount every 3x, unless he's got some 5-3 or 2-3, in which case, we're probably about to double him up. So, really, the only hand we're losing to is going to be ace-10, pocket 10s, or pocket 2s. And with him not free betting pre, I don't think he's got 10s or ace-10. So I'm pretty happy with our hand right now, and he just lead jams for our effective stack, which is about 11k. I was planning on calling down with the 5. Now I've improved my hand to 2 pair, never folding. So we snap, he mucks, and we win a 36,000 R&B pot. This is roughly around 4k pounds. It must be my birthday, because the gifts keep on coming. They've just brought me out this delicious slice of cake. Same game, same route. This is a little while later, and he's topped up. So we're sitting pretty deep at 700 big blinds. He's not got the straddle on his hand, so he limps under the gun. We get 2 more limpers, and we open the button to 300 base jack of clubs. I think in this game it's way too small. This deep with this many limpers, I think we should make it about 500. 300 would be the standard size, but I think sizing up in these games as an exploit is pretty good. And the small blind, wow, under the gun 2 and low jack all. So 1.5k in the middle, and we go to Jack 10 free rainbow. And again, we're going to implement the same Asian game strategy of bet, bet, bet. So we bet half pot of 800, and just the well calls. And the turn comes a 6 of diamonds. This card is a brick. Does bring in a backdoor flush draw, but I'm not worried about that, especially versus a wow. I bet 2,000, which again I think is too small in these games. I think I should have gone about pot instead, but he calls anyway. And the river comes an offsuit 7, which is another brick. We have two options here. It's either time to size up and get the maximum against Jack X and 10x, or we can bet small and hope that he senses weakness and bluffs. And against this well, I decided on the second option. So I bet about 35% of the pot, hoping that he bluffs. You know, he's got all these misdraws of diamonds, he's got his 8-9s, king queens, he's got his queen 9s, he's got every draw. But he just calls and mucks, and we win. I demolished the cake like I demolished those wells. Now a nice Red Bull to wash it all down with. Different game, different well. Playing 25-50, 8-handed. Again, Asian game. So 3-6. The low jack limps. We open the hijack to 200 with ace queen clubs. Cut off calls. And now the well on the button 3 bets to 800. It folds to us, and we call, and the cut off calls. We can 4-bet here, and you should 4-bet here, especially hijack versus button well. A lot of times we do want to get this heads up, but I decide this time I want to give the wow some rope and let him blast. So we go to the flop, and it just comes absolute chin. So obviously we're just checking here to trap, cut off checks, and the wow decides to jam 10x pot. Obviously we snap it off, the cut off folds, run out just comes clean, and we beat Jack 9 of diamonds. What an absolute gift. Back playing with our favourite aggressive player, Tantrum, playing 1-2-5, and he opens the hijack to 15. We're going to 3-bet in position to 50 with queens, and folds to him and he calls. £100 in the pot, and it comes queen 5-3 with 2 clubs. Amazing. Fantastic. It goes check, check. I decided to check here because I want to disguise my hand a little bit. There is a flush draw present, but I've got the queen of clubs, so I'm not too worried about it. So I check here, and the turn comes an offsuit 6. This is a brick. He checks. It's time to stop building a pot. I go for 75%, which is £75, and he calls. Now when he calls here, once he's called my 3-bet pre and he's checked both flop and turn, the range I give him is he's either got a flush draw or he's got some pairs, a pair like 7s through jacks. So I built this range for him, and on the bricks I'm going to bet big to get value versus 1 pair hands, and on flush competing cards I'm going to bet small and fold to raises. That's the plan. So comes the brick is the bricks, and offsuit 2. He checks, so now we time to size up. Here we can go anywhere from like 75% to even all in, which is about 2x pot with his stack. But I decided to try and get value from the bottom of his range. So I want to try and get his 7s and his 8s and 9s to like pull me off here. So I bet 200, which is 80% pot. I know I said going for like this smaller side, but 80% pot. But he just jams into us, and we snap. And turns out it wasn't a gift, it was just a cooler. He turned a set. So our check on the flop actually works out and gets us paid. Several weeks later, and we're playing with Tantrum again. But this time we're playing in an Albanian game. We're playing 2-5, and early position fish makes it 30. Now this is massive size from early position. Most of the time we've been 3xing it. I've been 4xing most of the time as a standard. Everyone normally is making it 15. I'm normally making it 20-25. But he just opens to 30. So we have to be careful and assign him a strong range here. Anyway, MP calls, we're next to act with jacks. Normally in this sort of spot I'd be looking to 3-bet, but with early position opening so big, a 3-bet here, if we 3-bet here and get 4-bet, it's a disaster. So we're going to underact our hand and just call, tantrum calls, and the big blind calls. It's £150 in the middle, and it comes Jack, 6, deuce, all diamonds. We flop top set. Even though it's a monotone board, this is a good flop for us. But the fish leads out for 60. I think here we can go two ways. We can either call and look to play turns and rivers, giving us a chance to boat up or get away from the hand if a fourth diamond comes. Or we can look to apply max pressure and look to stack all of his over pairs, his aces, kings, queens, or his ace of diamonds, X hands, or king of diamonds hands. Or just try and boat up first any flop flushes. And I normally like the aggressive route, so I decided to just jam, and tantrum snaps. But then our fish folds, which is surprising to me. Oh well, about 1,200 quid in the pot, and comes 1,100 quid in the pot. Turn comes king of diamonds. It's an awful card. 4 clubs, it's a brick, changes nothing. We show jacks and we win. He shows us deuces. Another set over set versus tantrum. I think with the action before him, I think from him this is a bit of a punt, because I'm never jamming worse than deuces. Like I'm never doing this with ace jack. It's only ever the worst hand I have here is the bare ace of diamond, but I never have that because calling pre for such a big size, all my ace-X are all going to be suited. So we'll take the gift. Same game, different fish. We're playing 2, 5, 10. We open king jack of clubs under the gun to 30. Folds round to the button who calls. The small one folds, big button calls, under the gun one calls. So £120 in the pot, and we go to king 7, 7 or rainbow. Checks to us, we check, and button checks. I decide to check here to keep my range wide. My hand doesn't need protecting, and I'm only really worried about seeing an ace on the turn. So we check here, and it comes a queen of diamonds, bringing in a backdoor flush draw. Now this is a really good card to see, because now any queen X has made a pair, and with us checking the flop, nobody will put us on a king X. So we're setting the trap. The straddle leaves for 60, and we call. With button fold and big button fold, river comes an 8. So there's £240 in the pot. This is a brick. He leads. We haven't checked flop and call turn to fold here, so we snap call, and he insta-mucks. Swears at us in Albanian. Thanks for the gift, boss. The cards are down, but the story's just getting started. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, stay sharp, and never show them your full hand.